Welcome to Corrective Consciousness, episode 296, the podcast where we explore the inanity of pop culture. I'm your host, vysethebold, and this is
Lotus Prince.
And we have another wonderful show here. I wanted to give us an opportunity to talk about Elden Ring, which is, of course, the biggest game going right now.
Yeah, and don't worry, no spoilers, because neither of us is very far.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of one of those games that I think is it supposed to be longer than the original Dark Souls?
I don't know. I mean, I suspect it would be if you're just wandering around and don't know what you're doing. I've already seen that speedrunners have been able to pull it off like less than an hour, but like you can beat any game in less than an hour if you break it enough.
Yeah, I mean, Breath of the Wild was never intended to be played that way, but you can play it that way, which is kind of cool about it.
Sure.
But I would never want to play it by that way because I mean, that's one of those things that you do when you're bored.
Yeah, the thing with the Souls games is that they're hard. You're going to take a while to beat the game, but you generally know where to go. Like, once you find the dungeon, it's pretty linear, but Elden Ring's whole thing is that it's open world until you find little pockets to go into. So, like...
Did they sequence break the game or something like that?
I don't know. I didn't look because I don't want to know.
Okay. Yeah, I gotcha.
I mean, I'm sure they did.
Yeah.
I mean, you could pull off some shit. Like, you ever see Sekiro swimming in the air?
Yeah.
You are fast when you swim in that game.
What did you think of Sekiro, speaking of?
I quite enjoyed it. It's just obviously a very different experience. You'd better get used to parrying on time. Theoretically, you don't have to do the parry game, but, like, the game kind of expects you to.
Encourages it.
Well, the game clearly expects you to. Like,
okay.
Just slashing at an enemy for a while is a terrible idea. What you're supposed to do is enemies have 2 bars, and in fact, so do you. Health, and I forgot what it's called. Stamina. It's not. I don't think it's called stamina, but you have 2 bars. If your bar runs out, you can't block anymore. It's just like you got guard broken. But if an enemy's runs out, then they get put into a state where you can do a death blow on them. So you could either reduce an enemy's health to 0, or what tends to be much easier is reduce their stamina bar to 0, but to do that, you need to have your parry game on. So if you're really not comfortable with that, then you could use items and do special moves with your basic strikes to whittle them down enough, which, for some bosses, that was how I did it.
Yeah. I think I never really had the urge to play Sekiro, which is kind of funny. I know it was like the biggest game going when it came out.
It is very different. Like, a lot of what made that hard for people when it started was, I know Souls, I'll be good at this, but it doesn't quite play the same.
Yeah, does it have a similar UI? Does it look like all the other FromSoft games? Like, does it... like with your loadout and everything.
Your quick items look pretty similar. Yeah. As far as weapons and armor, there's no loadout. There's your sword, so it streamlines things. You get upgrades that let you, like, you could do like a grapple hook thing. You could, like, Spider-Man swing to certain grapple points, which makes life a lot easier in some places. You do have a dedicated jump button. That was novel for the time. Elden Ring is novel in that it's a Souls game, kind of.
Yeah. That really surprised me that Elden Ring has a jump button, actually.
And a crouch button.
Yeah. And like it's significantly easier to platform in as you'd think it would be. But your jump is pretty nimble.
It's not bad, because in Souls you had a jump, but you had to run and then double tap, because a single tapping the run button rolls, double tapping jumps, so it's very easy to screw that up, and a lot of times their platforming is like, get from this side to the other side. They're not going to have you do crazy platforming sections, because that's just atrocious. Sekiro had to do platforming because you could do it, and so Elden Ring will have that as well.
Yeah, I think that... one of the fun things about these games is that they kind of constantly are thinking of ways to change it up, and so, like, Dark Souls, you got to remember that there's a reason why they are calling each of these games not, like, part of the same series. They are similar in terms of design, but they also have different feelings about them. I would say that Elden Ring definitely feels like a Souls game, just in terms of just aesthetics.
Aesthetic,
like
very
that.
Obviously, and controls are mostly similar to Souls games. You just got to get used to pressing triangle instead of X to pick stuff up, but like it plays mostly like a Souls game. Sekiro, from what I've heard, plays more like a Tenchu game, which FromSoft did not create Tenchu, but they did start producing them in the PS2 era.
Yeah. I think their decision to move forward with mobility is kind of like the addition that they're making to each game now. Is pretty neat.
Speaking of which, you know what I thought was awesome, which I don't think I've seen in any open world? Somebody can correct me on this if one exists, but you know how a lot of open world games have fast travel because they damn well better, these worlds are huge? Typically, I mean, even Dark Souls had them, starting in Dark Souls 1, is you would go to a bonfire and teleport to a different bonfire on the condition that you'd unlocked it. But there are other open world games, like one that I've played, quote, more recently was Horizon Zero Dawn, right? Like, you could fast travel if you had like a consumable item. It was pretty easy to get more of those items, but you had to have them. But if you did, you could beam to a location on the map of your choice. In Elden Ring, you can go to... They're not called bonfires, they're called Sites of Grace. I'm probably just going to call them bonfires.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same concept, right?
Yeah, and like, they're not souls, they're runes, but I'm going to call them souls. But you can fast travel to any bonfire that you've previously activated without an item. Just open the map and do it. That's great. Why don't all games let you do this?
Yeah, I think it's kind of funny that the thing that they improve upon every game is kind of going like against what people said that they liked about them.
Yeah, like a lot of people complained about the UI, for example, how minimalistic it is, but like it shows what you need when you need it. And even the map, if you've gotten to certain, I don't know what you call them, landmarks or whatever, that kind of do the little thing where the mist floats by and shows you where to go next. If you go on the map, it shows you like the path you should be taking. You're obviously supposed to go out and explore, but if you ever need to be reminded of where to go, it's on your map. Like, they don't mark every merchant, they don't mark... Sites of Grace are marked, actually. You can turn that on or off, but they don't mark every little side quest, which you might want to know that, but like you can put the marker down yourself. Like if you look at some maps of older open world games, the markers overwhelm the maps after a point. FromSoft shows you the stuff that if you want to advance the game, you need. Again, if you want to mark stuff for quests, go ahead and do it, but the map is not going to be loaded with little keys for you to take care of, so that's on you. But what you need is there, and I find that quite refreshing. Like I haven't played the Assassin's Creed games, but even older open world stuff like that Tomb Raider reboot, there's a lot of markers. Like, it's not an absolutely comical amount, but there's a lot of them, and it can be like, even though I'm the kind of person who wants to complete a checklist, it can be anxiety-inducing when you see that many checkboxes on your checklist all at once. So Elden Ring is like, fuck it, here's the path.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Here's the bonfires if you want to turn those on the map. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Well, I took a little while for me to kind of get through the tutorial, and I think, or the even through the creation process. I think a lot lot did.
Oh, the character creator?
Ring. Yeah, the character creator.
I took approximately 10 seconds on the character creator.
Oh, okay. See,
I don't give a fuck.
I was really debating on what starting class that I wanted to be. So
yeah, I mean, I figured strength and dex build, please. Hero. Okay, we're done. To be fair, I was streaming, so I really went defaults. But even when I do create a character, I'm covered with that fucking helmet anyway. Like, I'll change my hair color and maybe my eye color. Done.
Yeah, I wasn't care. I didn't really care about that. I more cared about my my class.
Sure.
I was agonizing because I was just like, the samurai like class.
Samurai look pretty good.
Has like a crossbow. Or was it a short bow, or it was a bow of some kind.
Speaking of which, I think you have like a zoom function on your projectile weapons now, which that wasn't a thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny that, you know, they're just adding quality of life improvements to
every Souls game. There's just a little bit more.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, this always should have been there.
Yeah, in Demon Souls, you can't even slide down ladders. What was it? I think it was Bloodborne. Had the fast climbing up, but you couldn't even slide down in Demon Souls. That was a Dark Souls 1 thing.
Yeah, I think this is it's just a fun thing that they're doing.
By the way, I lied. Dark Souls 2 was fast climb, but it cost stamina pointlessly. Bloodborne was just like, fuck it, just go.
It's kind of funny that like a game like Dark Souls is considered one of the best games of all time, and mostly you know, because it was great itself, but I guess when you look at best games of all time, you look at first of all, you know, what did it do? You know, how did it inspire games afterwards, and how did it, Dark Souls is one of those games that just really inspired like gameplay design.
And you know what's funny is that all it is a third-person Kingsfield, except the combat feels better.
Yeah.
And nobody wanted Kingsfield.
Well, those games are very, very clunky, and even for the time, it's even clunkier than, you know, Demon Souls was. You know.
Oh my God, is it ever? Yeah. I mean, to be fair, the controls are like, whoa, but like this was also the time where nobody used the right stick ever anyway, and it did have the open world design as far as Kingsfield US was concerned. Kingsfield Japan was like Grimrock, you're just dungeon crawling, but they did the open world thing very shortly afterward.
Yeah, but even for the time, Kingsfield looked decidedly low tech.
You swing very slowly. Monsters look kind of cool, but like if you look at the Kingsfield games 1, 2, 3, 4, the monsters look better and better quality. Old Kingsfield definitely looks like a product of its time.
Yeah, I think that these, you know, it's really interesting that everybody latched onto Dark Souls and it's mostly Dark Souls. Everybody noticed Dark Souls because it was to a much larger audience than Demon Souls was.
Yeah, it was a multi-platform game. Yeah,
it was a multi-platform game, and like, you know, especially it was on PC. That really helped. Yeah. And also it just combined that Demon Souls, the Demon Souls design with a Metroidvania, and that really is where it was a launching point.
That is a good point, because Demon Souls wasn't Metroidvania quite yet. You chose it was 5 levels, and those levels were pretty sprawling. You might run around in them, but it wasn't like, ooh, come back here later. It was just like, fight a boss, move forward, fight the next boss. The level design, like an individual levels design, felt pretty Dark Souls, like with the opening, the shortcuts and everything like that, but it didn't really have the branching path aspect that Dark Souls did, especially when you get the Lord Vessel. There are 4 bosses, go find them, instead of like, I choose to enter level 4 from the hub, that kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. So, I think, you know, that's why Demon Soul or Dark Souls like really took off, and also that's kind of why, like, you know, the sequels don't nearly didn't really inspire a lot, but then
Dark Souls 2 was made by the B team. Like, I mean, it had clever ideas that still carry over, but
it's also a difficult game. It's like a very difficult game. Two in particular is like pretty darn difficult compared to the other ones, right?
It's ironic parts of it are difficult. Challenge equals more enemies running up your ass. Lots of bosses are like multiple enemies. Individual fights are like for boss fights like are very hard in that game, and yet it's ironically possibly the most player friendly of the Souls trilogy because you can, like, if you keep killing enemies, they'll stop respawning. That's bad for if you want to grind for XP, but you can use a bonfire aesthetic to bring them back, or not aesthetic, but you can use a bonfire aesthetic to bring them back. The catch is that there'll be New Game Plus difficulty, and if you do it again, New Game Plus difficulty, there is that. But you can keep bringing the enemies back if you want them back, and if you don't want them back, and you keep dying at that one boss, it's just a jog to the boss now. Like the enemy's presence is there if you choose for it to be there, as long as you keep. So like it simultaneously has aspects that make it the hardest Dark Souls game, but also the friendliest. If you want to like customize your style of gameplay, Dark Souls 3 is more of a consistent follow up to Dark Souls 1, but it also kind of expects you to play Dark Souls 1. It's just harder. It's just straight. It's Dark Souls 1 again, but harder.
Yeah. Well, but you have Bloodborne after that, and people have really latched on as to Bloodborne being like a tentpole game.
That is a system seller for some people.
Yeah, and it was the reason why I bought a PS4. And a lot of like earlier PS4 adopters.
It has incredible reveals that redefine early aspects of the game. It's very fluid. I know it never hit 60 FPS, but it's a very fast and smooth game. It really pushes the dodging. You don't have a shield. Like, there is one, but it's intentionally shitty, and the flavor text like mocks you for using it. It's all about that dodge game and parry game. I wasn't much of a parry guy, so I was more of a dodger, so I learned to do a lot of dodges for boss attacks. So Dark Souls 3 was a lot more palatable to me, because the first boss, Eodex Gundar, for a first boss, he's tough. But dodge rolls, I actually did beat him on the first try, but thank God I'd already played Bloodborne, or I'd have gotten stomped. Like, that guy's a big heavy hitter, and even though I play a tank, when you first start the game, you don't have a great shield. That guy would have just eaten my defenses like nothing. So thank God for dodge rolling. Thank you, Bloodborne. And then Sekiro comes along. Oh, you're good at dodge rolling. Well, dodging is kind of mediocre in this game. Get on that parry. So I had to like relearn that mechanic.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
And you know what Elden Ring's thing is, by the way? Having to relearn stuff. Enemies timing. I don't know if you noticed. Yeah, because I was like, I recently played Sekiro. I'll get my parry game on, because Souls enemies are easy to like. You need to learn their timing of their attacks, but once you do, like, he's ready to swing and parry, But in Elden Ring, even the basic enemies, their wind up is ridiculous. Like, I got my sword.
Wide. Their wind up. Yeah.
I'm gonna swing it. I'm gonna swing. I'm like, when the fuck do I press the parry button? Like, I mean, I can learn it, but it's way longer than I'm used to.
Yeah, that was something I had trouble with, and I was wondering whether I just wasn't good at it. But
no, if anything, you might be better because you haven't played a Souls game in a while. I fought this one mini boss, like this black something assassin, black cloak or whatever. But like he's got like a cool little claw hand. He wears like metal, just like a claw glove on one hand, and he has this cool attack where it's kind of like the Abyss Watchers in Dark Souls 3, where they run at you and scrape their sword against the ground, drawing sparks before swinging it. He's got a move like that, except he does it with his claw hand instead. But what he does is he goes on the ground and does a fucking 720 spin, like, now I'm swinging. And that took me some time to get used to, because I'm waiting for, like, ready, go. But he's like, no, now. It just threw me off for a while.
Well, I think I had a pretty hard time. I guess the tutorial area where you're first encountering like the first enemies. is kind of a good place for you to
Yes.
really learn that parry stuff, because I think those enemies intentionally are a little on the slower side and
they're very slow. Yeah, like it's clearly done because the Souls games have done tutorial areas before. Typically, just the first dungeon before bosses.
Sure.
Demon Souls explicitly had a tutorial area that it asks you if you want to even skip it, I think. But the first couple of enemies, it's even like Sekiro. Like, you don't know how to really play the game yet, but that's okay. Just hit these guys 3 times, they're dead. But unlike the other Souls games, this tutorial area, all of a sudden had a shield guy that you really can't penetrate, and he's very hesitant to attack. So it's like, well, you have 2 options. We're introducing a new mechanic called like a guard counter, where you tank an attack and quickly respond. That's a new thing. Try that if you can't get through his shield. Or 2, use your heavy attack to just do stamina damage to his shield. So, like, new kind of enemy, and they're explicitly telling you what to do with him right there. Because usually Souls tutorial areas just have enemies that are easy to kill.
Yeah.
But this one, they stepped it up even before they threw a boss at you. And even then, though, the boss was just that guy again with a boss-looking health bar on the bottom of the screen. He was kind of just a joke of a soldier fight. But still, you know, it was like an easy tutorial for once. And then you meet the boss that's supposed to kill you, so there is that. But it was interesting that the tutorial stepped it up.
So that guy was like a spider, like that's the best way I could describe him.
Yeah,
like,
he had too many arms with swords.
Yeah, and like I was just like, how am I? Like I was ready to fight him, but like he just kind of envelops you, and like,
that was my problem.
Yeah,
I was confident about that guy. I'm like, I got my dodge roll game on point. Let's go.
No, he just like sucks you up. Yeah.
Yeah, but like he didn't. I don't even know if he sucked me up.
No, but like just kind of like cradles you into his like thorax area.
He didn't even really do that for me. It's just that like your forward roll and your back roll are quick little somersaults, but your side roll, it just felt way slower. And I side rolled and I just got ganked like immediately. I didn't even get to swing against him because I was like, I'm gonna dodge this and then counter, and my side roll was atrocious and I died immediately.
And he's also really quick.
Yes, he is.
Yeah. So I assume that you encounter him later on. Did you encounter him later?
No, because I didn't do a I played the game for 3 hours. I did not do a comprehensive look. Like, even the first area of the game is like a part of an open world map, and it itself is quite large. So like, I mean, I assume you encounter him much later. Even in Demon Souls, the Vanguard demon, the tutorial boss, he's in like World 4-2 if you want to encounter him for real. So it's like, And same thing for Sekiro, the tutorial boss. You know you're fighting that guy later, but it's kind of a while later. Like, unless you've already beaten the game, it's kind of a while later. Mm-hmm. The Asylum Demon in Dark Souls, you can go back to that guy, but that's also kind of a while later. So like, I don't expect to see this guy for
that is a while later, isn't it? When you go and fight him like underneath
you need to know about the Raven flying you back, and I forgot when you unlock that ability. I don't remember if you could do that early game or not, but like, you're not ready for him for a while later.
Yeah,
because that guy's he hits hard.
He does hit hard, but I think I didn't have too much of a problem with him when I did get to him.
I did, because his butt stomp AoE is pretty big and his arena is pretty small.
Yeah, I think I maybe fought him. Well, for me, like, dying like 3 or 4 times isn't that bad.
Not at all.
Yeah. I would say that was an easier time for me. I only fought him like 3 or 4 times, so.
I just got stuck on that guy for whatever reason. Oh, by the way, you know what was really cool? A really cool reveal with that demon? Do you remember when you first start Dark Souls, you're in your stupid little prison cell, but then you get out and you walk down the hallway and you see the demon through like a window?
Yeah.
Just walking around and you're like, okay. But when you come out, the boss descends from the sky and you're like, wait, but I thought I saw you down here. And it turns out it was just a different demon. Like, it's when you come back, you fight that Asylum Demon. Like, that's super clever. Like, no, you saw correctly. He's still there, actually. Like, oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, I don't know. I Dark Souls is just one of those games, like, you kind of always want to go back to. Just
oh
because,
yeah,
like, it's just like so. Like I could play one of the sequels, but like I feel like the first one just I have a lot of love for it because it was also something I conquered. Like
yes.
you know my history with the original Dark Souls in that, like,
yeah, I watched you play a bunch.
You watched me play it when I bought it, and I went down the wrong path and I got killed by those fucking skeletons.
Oh, I mean that's like a FromSoft joke. They've been doing that ever since Kingsfield in the 90s.
But I didn't know that, right? Obviously, and
well, who did? Nobody played Kingsfield.
I played a little bit of Demon Souls before that. I never got very far. The furthest I ever got in Demon Souls before Dark Souls came out was, I beat the
the red fire dragon.
2. Yeah, level 2. And so that's the furthest I ever got because I kind of dropped off after that. But I really was apprehensive to play Dark Souls because, like, Dark Souls was just so intimidating to me, especially considering the crazy like permanent things that can happen to you in that game that you may not like the outcome of. So like you can do things wrong and it does have consequences. I mean, like you could still beat the game, but you might not beat it the way you
the little NPC quests.
Yeah, you might not be able to do it the way that you wanted to.
I will say one thing, by the way, regarding going back to Dark Souls. I would be way more likely to do 1 than 2. I just like 1 a lot better, but
sure.
Like, I would not dedicate a whole playthrough to this because it fucking sucks to do it all for just one thing. But, like, part of me wants to fight the Fume Knight again. Actually, I wonder if I could use the bonfire aesthetic to bring it back. I might be able to actually do that. But part of me wants to fight the Fume Knight again because that fight made me absolutely miserable. Like, that fight took me forever. That guy does chip damage like you would not believe. But now that I have gotten used to dodge rolling, I think that fight might be way easier because, like, his scariest attacks for me are the ones that are actually pretty easy to dodge roll through, but I was a tank, so I was sweating the entire time. Like, I would probably have a better time with him now. Same goes for Ornstein and Smog, like, because my playstyle for Dark Souls 1 and 2 was tank, so I was just waiting for enemies to get bored and hoping that I had enough stamina to do what I wanted to do. But with dodge rolling, I could just roll past them, hit him in the back once or twice, and leave. Like, it might not be so bad.
Well, one of the things that you helped me get around as well was you helped me learn how to backstab, because it took me a long time to learn how to.
It's funny too because I remember you mentioned you were having a problem with the Dark Wraiths.
Yeah, exactly.
And of all things in the world, like, the ghosts are the hard part because you can't do anything with them unless you're cursed. But the Dark Wraiths, I was like, really? But they're just every soldier in the game except they look cooler. but the way I'd played the game was I always circle strafed until they did a stupid long thrust attack, at which point it was very easy to backstab them. But you weren't accustomed to backstabbing, so that makes the fight way harder.
Yeah, like you were like a little mystified because like my playing style was a lot different.
Yeah, I was like, yours. You made it all the way to New Londo, and like
I had just plowed through that game. Like I just
I was like, how did you make it this far where like circle strafing is a problem? But like, yeah, you if you don't know backstabbing, it's a whole different game.
What was kind of funny is I remember when Demon Souls came out, and I was living at my parents' place at the time.
Yeah, when I was playing it, I was backstabbing everybody.
And you, like, this was when it had come out. And
yeah,
so,
I didn't know how to play. I never actually
didn't know how to play, and you were backstabbing like Blue Eyes, like in the very beginning of the game, and I was like, "What are you doing? No, don't do that!"
Yeah, that was the funniest thing because like I actually was not using regular attacks. Because the first enemies of the game do a big heavy leap at you, so I'm like, oh, okay. So I moved out of the way, and they're like, ugh, and they land on the ground, and it gets stunned, and I'm like, well, backstab. And because at the beginning of the game, I one-shot them with backstabs, and like the first 3 or 4 enemies attack the same way because they suck. They're the first enemies, so I'm like, dodge, backstab, dodge. I'm like, wow, this game's pretty easy. Why do they say it's hard? And then a Red Eyes came out. He lunged at me, backstab. And then I realized I only did like an 1/8 of his health. I'm like, can I backstab this guy 7 more times? No, I could not, as a matter of fact. Because then he did his, like, the attack where he runs at you with a spear.
Yeah.
And that does multiple hits. If you block, it's like da-da-da-da-da-da-da. So like it ate through my shield immediately and killed me. I'm like, what the fuck? Like I didn't realize that was supposed to be a particularly difficult enemy.
Yeah.
That was just the first enemy I fought that put up a fight.
Well,
so I was like, oh, this game is hard.
So erratically because like you were playing on my system, so you were kind of like just fucking around.
Yeah, and I'm one-shotting everybody, and then Red Eyes just destroy. But I still got him, which was pretty funny. Like I didn't kill him, but I still backstabbed him immediately. Like this isn't so hard. This guy just has more health, and then he was just like, "No, I'm done now." He just decided to kill me.
Perry and Mr. Ryu were over as well, watching us play.
Were they? They were both there too.
I believe so. Yeah. And it was really funny. I was like, no, don't go to the Red Eye. I
do specifically remember you were like, you backstabbed a Red Eye, but then he just like it did no damage to his health bar. I'm like, that was terrifying. But because the blue eyes are actually pretty easy to kill. They're the red eyes, except if they have way less health and like just lower stats. So if a blue eyes had attacked me, it probably would have taken me 2 or 3 hits. They might have killed me if I didn't get my dodge game on. Red Eyes, you're not prepared for Red Eyes at level 1.
Yeah. But,
good times, though. And then when you play Worlds like 1-4 or something, by this time they're kind of regular enemies, and you're like, so you're like, I hope I can fight these guys.
It was just so funny to me because like I had been like trudging through that game and like getting killed by everything, and you just like are fucking around and backstabbing everything.
Well, because everyone fought the same way. Like leap, oh you're an idiot, stab, leap, really, stab. It was great.
But getting back to Elden Ring, which is the focus here. What do you think of the story so far?
I don't have much of a sense of it because for my stream I was just kind of fucking around. Okay. So I got killed by the tutorial boss because you're supposed to. I wake up, I don't really have a sense of what to do. I probably kind of want to go sort of this way. I guess I'll do that. And then I'm just seeing, I'm seeing mini-bosses, I'm seeing caravans. I eventually go to a bonfire. Oh, this woman wants to join me? Alright. Then I get the horse. Which, by the way, can I say the horse mechanics in that game are brilliant? Summon him. Whoops, he's there. Get off of him. Whoops, he's gone.
Can you explain to me like what the horse helps you do in this game?
Go very fast.
Well, yeah.
The end.
Okay.
I mean, you could also swing while you're on the horse, which is kind of nice.
Oh, but, so you can do battle while you're on the horse?
Yeah, you could swing your sword while on the horse.
Oh, can the horse get attacked? I just don't know how it works.
Yes, it can. The horse can get attacked, and you can use your Estus. It's not called Estus, but yes, it is. You can use your Estus to heal it. If it dies, you can sacrifice an Estus to bring it back. And you only have 3 Estus in the beginning of the game. But I think Dark Souls 3 actually did this secretly. But Elden Ring explicitly tells you, if you just kill enough shit, then they'll give you like an Estus back. So just keep playing well, and you'll get it back. So you don't have to worry like, oh, my 3 are gone. Now I have to play for the next hour without healing. Like, don't worry. There's also an item dedicated, I think, specifically to healing the horse, but I haven't gotten to a point where like I don't try to have it in battle. But your horse can die, but you can bring it back with an Estus. So it's not like permadead. It's like a spirit horse, because when you press the horse summon button, it literally just like appears. It's not like Zelda, where Epona like runs in from somewhere, just like, I want the horse, boom, it's here. Like, oh my god, it's so good.
So it's kind of like you summon it. So
you literally summon it, and you can jump while on the horse as well.
I was just gonna say, are there areas that you can't get to unless you have the horse?
That I don't know. Okay. I don't know if the horse necessarily jumps way better than you do. I haven't tested that. My guess is yes, but I don't know.
See, that makes me think that there are there aren't too many gigantic areas that you need to... It would be a lot easier to traverse if you had a horse. There's only like a couple areas of Dark Souls where I would say that.
Oh, yeah, like on Orlando or something.
Yeah, on Orlando.
But then again, though, those games were designed around the fact that you run on foot. Elden Ring's fucking huge, but you know what? Here's a really fast horse, very early game. Like, all right.
Well, it also makes me think that the game... like Dark Souls taught you to be really cautious with almost every step.
Yeah.
Like there's probably like a bad guy like anytime there's a corner. Or
I was just gonna say, look around a corner every single time. I mean, Elden Ring, it's a big open world, that's fine. But if you go into little mini dungeon areas, that might be a different story. I've definitely encountered traps in dungeons.
But what I was gonna say is like the open area must be kind of a relief for like a kind of this kind of game, because like that's not really something that like there are open areas, but they're usually chock full of assholes in Dark
I mean,
Souls.
there are dudes walking around in Elden Ring. I haven't seen any traps in the open area, but I've only, again, I haven't been playing very long, but like, yeah, I'm waiting for something to gank you in the open areas. We'll find out.
Yeah.
There are certainly things to do. Also, I should mention, there are enemies on horseback sometimes, and I have not done this myself, but apparently if you parry them, you can unmount them, which is kind of cool.
Cool. Well, that's really interesting. Are there any enemies that also have mounts, or...
No, I just said.
Oh, okay.
If you parry them, apparently you dismount them, but I just jump attacked them, which hit both them and the horse. And by the way, their horse can back kick you, which is pretty funny.
Can you mount their mount?
I don't know. My guess is no, because it's just another enemy horse.
That would be kind of funny.
That would be amusing, but like, you have a superior horse anyway.
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
What else was I getting? Oh, by the way, the game is pretty liberal with big enemies that I think are mini bosses, but aren't because they respawn with everyone else. There's just really big enemies.
Apparently, the game also tones up the Berserk references. Like, apparently, like the weapons even seem.
I'm not there yet, but I look forward to it.
Yeah, which is kind of unusual to. I guess they want to pay tribute to.
To Miura.
Kentaro Miura, because of his passing, but
maybe so.
It's kind of funny that it's like getting to the point where it's almost like I hope they got like permission kind of thing.
Like, we get it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's just
I still don't know how they're gonna out Berserk Dark Souls 3's DLC though.
Oh, is that like super like Berserk?
Well, the last boss of the last DLC is Guts. It's Guts.
Like in the Berserker armor, kind of.
No, there is a Berserker armor looking enemy in Dark Souls 2. It's a regular enemy, but it just has the look. But like the torn, tattered cape, he fights with a repeating crossbow. He's got a big fuck off sword, and he leaps around and swings at you with it. It's very on the nose.
Wow.
The repeating crossbow is really what got me. Like, really?
Yeah. No, that's it.
that fight is great, by the way.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
One other thing I will say, by the way, this could have gone in reactive consciousness, but people recently discovered there's apparently a wall that you could break open, and Souls games are full of those. But apparently you have to hit it literally 50 times, which is an asshole thing.
Oh,
like FromSoft likes its obscure stuff, but come on. That's dickish. That's like an Easter egg in Resident Evil 2. Do it 50 times.
Yeah, or like that secret Arkham room in Batman, like that.
Yeah, you only need to do one thing to open that, but you would never. There's no possible way.
There's no indication of it. Yeah,
there's no indication whatsoever, and you need to put not one, not two, but 3 gels all in the same time. Nobody's figuring that out.
Yeah. How did anybody figure out that wall?
The devs came out and said it.
Oh, okay.
The devs were like, all right, we'll just... Like, nobody was figuring that out.
No, I don't mean the Batman one. I mean the Elden Ring one.
Oh, I don't know. Well, my guess is the wall probably reacts differently, and after 10 hits, you're like, really? Does it keep going? So, like, I'm assuming there's an indicator, but, like, 50 is ridiculous.
Yeah, you're just sitting there wailing at it.
Yeah, I don't know who figured that out or how, but, like...
What's inside?
Don't know, don't want to know.
Oh, okay. All right.
But it's just like people are talking about like 50 hits. What? Like, that really is. Like I know FromSoft is famous for being obscure, but that's like that's a step too far.
Yeah, not only that, but like even if you know it, it's not easy. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you're
like,
just hacking. You know what it reminds me of is do you know about the Easter egg at the very end of God of War 1?
No, I don't.
When you're at the very end of the game, there are 2 massive statues of Ares, and if you hit them, they do the little crumble effect, like, these can be broken, but you have to hit them fucking forever. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, you start to question yourself by the time you succeed.
Wow.
But the payoff is when you do break one, it provides you with a phone number, and if you call it, you just hear like the developer of I forgot what it was. I think there was two different things, but one of them is you like Kratos' voice actor is talking as Kratos, and eventually like the head dev of God of War is like, "Hi, I'm the head dev of God of War," and Kratos' voice is like, "Oh, don't interrupt me," and you start like, "Oh no, don't kill me." Like, it's a pretty funny conversation from an actual phone number, but like normally when you hit something that doesn't break, it's like tink, but that did a little crumbly effect. So you're just hacking at it for like a minute. You're like, is this gonna be a thing or what? Turns out it is. So like the Elden Ring wall makes me think of that. Like 50 hits, get out of here.
Yeah, that's just nuts. I wonder if it's even like an essential part of the game or something too.
Almost certainly not. FromSoft, I will say this. Everybody knows, and like FromSoft has a reputation for being very obscure, but how to beat the game was never obscure. Find place that looks like a dungeon, kill boss. Like, that is not hard. The map literally tells you where to go in Elden Ring. That is not hard. I highly doubt the wall is crucial, because otherwise no one would beat the game. It would be bullshit.
Yeah.
Especially because people have already beaten the game. Speedrunners have done it in under an hour, but like we're only just now finding about the wall thing. So I'm thinking it's just something else. Wow.
Well, I think that's really the most that I know about it. I mean, like all I did when I played the game was like, you know, make my character, you know, listen to the intro story, which the story like doesn't make any sense because like you don't know what they're talking about.
Well, that's consistent though.
Yeah.
What I thought was funny, by the way, is in Dark Souls 1, like there is Gravelord Nito, Master of 1,000 Souls, whatever she said, the four kings who teamed up with Lord Gwyn. But like in Elden Ring, the narrator goes goes ham. Like, there's the Tongue Eater. Like they're like just really like dramatically delivering. It's just funny to me.
But yeah, I just like I got through that and I got killed by the tutorial guy, and then
yeah, well, of course, everyone does.
And then I fell down that like little pit to actually like go through that tutorial area.
Yep.
I thought for sure I was gonna die, but I didn't.
No, that was actually a legit tutorial area. They fooled you by not fooling you.
And then I fought that like named Mook, whatever the hell he was.
Yeah, that was comical.
Yeah, it was really funny because I was like, oh shit, a boss, and
then you hit him once and it's like a quarter of his health. You're like, what?
Yeah, I hit him once, kind of like you know, by accident.
You gave him like a love tap to see what would happen. This giant chunk of his health comes off.
Yeah.
I will say this: I fought the first real boss. That guy's hard. He has a bunch of different attacks, and his timing is weird. Like that like for the first real boss, that guy's tough.
Wow.
Yeah. You could summon for him though, but like, damn.
Crazy. Well, yeah. I mean, and then I got to the, you know, just exploring that first larger area.
Yeah.
And that it's pretty fun to do that, but like, you know, I didn't get much further. I kind of just died. So
yeah. Did you meet the Tree Sentinel?
I don't think I got that far. No.
It's not very far. It's just, did you go in that direction or not? But there's just a guy on a horseback, just running around the overworlds, and you're like, oh, he's bigger than the other guys, and then he like, his name and health bar appears, and you're like, uh-oh, and he just fucking kills you.
It's pretty crazy. Well, without further ado, I think we should go on to fan stuff here.
Sure, we have a couple comments. Living Corpse says, I remember hearing a recent retro FPS game has optional autosave. That's, I don't know what game it is, but that's quite considerate of them.
Yeah.
And then School Filmer says, what I'm currently playing? As of now, it's a bit of Dicey Dungeons. Surprisingly, it has an option to let you skip ahead in the game if you're struggling.
Yeah.
And a lot of the Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus, I got everything done as Judas. That is very impressive. Congratulations. And I finally got a 5-win streak as 5 different characters. Again, very nice. Chrono Trigger on DS, trying to get all the endings. Yeah, I still need to look into that version. Like, I played Chrono Trigger like on an emulator in like college, so it's been forever.
Yeah, just get the Steam version.
I did. I actually very recently purchased the Steam version. It's on sale right now. Square Enix, or I think it's right now. At least it was a couple days ago. Square Enix is having a sale, so I got it for like $7 or something.
Yeah, I hope that signals them putting it on the Switch at least, and the PS4, because
please,
why is it not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then to relax, a bit of 51 worldwide games. I'm assuming that's a Switch thing where it's just like chess, a bunch of like super laid back board games,
parlor games.
Yeah, it's, you know what, I want to play backgammon, let's do it. All right, so our question from Stranga Games: in relation to Konami kicking the Silent Hill corpse on the way out of the door, what video game franchise would you, if you had the funding and a studio, bring back from the dead, and in what way? Keeping faithful to source material, gameplay, story, or style, or entirely new direction? Which, by the way, speaking of which, I forgot to mention two things about Konami and Silent Hill. One of them is that they had run out, I think, their rights for like their SilentHill.com website. So somebody bought it and just made the page a tweet from Masahiro Ito, which said something like, "I regret making that fucking character," or something about Pyramid Head. It's very funny. But in more recent news, Konami apparently renewed the trademark of Silent Hill.
I mean,
the franchise.
That what's really funny about that is like people were freaking out and like it's saying it's an indication of it. Like renewing your copyright is like something you have to do as a maintenance thing.
Here's the thing.
Active.
Three things, okay? 3 things. Number 1, Silent Hills, or at least what was going to be Silent Hills, is never happening.
Never going to happen. Yeah.
Even if they make Silent Hills, it'll be completely different. Because, like, the website that said they renewed their Silent Hill, they have that picture of Norman Reedus, he's not going to fucking be in it. Like,
yeah, and
Silent Hills
Guillermo del Toro is not going to be in it, and Hideo Kojima is not making it.
So, number 1, Silent Hills is not happening. Number 2, if they're going to do anything with Silent Hill, it'll be more pachinko, or it'll be putting Pyramid Head in another game. Like, you know how Dying Light had Silent Hill stuff?
Yeah.
Bomberman R has Silent Hill stuff. It'll be that. Or, number 3, if, God forbid, they are actually making another Silent Hill game, just a regular Silent Hill game, people have bitched about every Silent Hill game, like, for the past over 10 years. Like, people just keep complaining about the Western Silent Hill releases. The last good Silent Hill, according to them, is 4, and they didn't like 4 when it came out. So, like, I don't know what the hell you want.
Yeah.
People complain about every single Silent Hill release since the PS3.
It's like Final Fantasy.
Well, no, people have ups and downs for Final Fantasy. But, like, Silent Hill, though, I said PS3, but since partway through the PS2, people have been doing nothing but complaining about every single release for, like, I think it's been, like, 15 years. But they still want more every time. All they're going to do is complain about it when it does come out. Like, what do you want? It's not Silent Hills. It's probably just merchandising. Or if it is Silent Hill, you're going to whine. So, like, what is this?
I think it's much more likely for them to put out a collection. Like a newer collection.
Because, yeah, but good luck with that. Like, Silent Hill 1, they could just digitally re-release, I guess. Silent Hill 2 and 3, they did an HD collection, but they had to use the beta version of 2, and 3 had the voice actors changed. Silent Hill 4 got the proper remaster treatment. I don't know what the hell you want after that. Like what options do they have? The Western release games? They theoretically could, I guess.
Well, the last time that they were released was the PS3 era, so like the least that they could do is, you know, port over what they had to the PS4.
Which was famously shit to the point where they offered a refund to Xbox users because they weren't patching it.
Yeah, I realize that, but I'm just saying that's the bare minimum, right?
I guess.
Yeah. So, but Konami, if you haven't been noticing, what they've been doing lately is not new games, obviously, but and if they are, anytime they release a new game, it's either really bad or it's a very small in scope game like Skeletak or something.
Yeah.
But they have recently been putting out collections, and they've been rather good. Their collections have been like high quality. They've hired the correct people for all of them. So what we have the Contra and Castlevania collection, which were M2 made by M2. We have Requiem, which is Dracula X and Symphony of the Night, which I think might even be like a Sony joint. Like I think like Sony might have helped them make that, because people are I think they've confirmed that there's like a PSP emulator running that game, which is really fascinating. They got M2 to make the Castlevania Advance Collection, and they got Hamster to make the Konami Arcade collection, you know, for their using kind of like those arcade archives things that they're doing, but in a collection form.
Yeah, and then there's the Contra stuff.
Well, Contra, like I said, Contra and Castlevania were done by M2.
Oh, those both M2. Okay, yeah. So they like, I'll admit they are getting goodwill for bringing back all this stuff and in convenient collections to boot.
Yeah, and when they are bringing them back, they are doing it in the right way. They're including quality of life improvements. They are bringing. They are giving you both versions of the game. Like they'll give you like the Japanese version.
Yeah.
And they are also doing extra stuff, like including like Getsu Fumaden. This isn't part of a collection, but it comes with the sequel if you get the deluxe version. They've been translating old games that have never been translated before, and that's not something that Konami is known for doing.
Oh yeah, that Kid Dracula.
They did it with Kid Dracula, and they did it with Getsu Fumaden now. So that's saying something. That requires a little bit of a budget, because somebody has to hack that game and translate it. And that's a big deal. To believe in a project enough to make that happen. They could easily just put out a collection and not give you Kid Dracula, or if they do give you Kid Dracula, just put the Famicom game on there. And
well, yeah, I was actually thinking of that. I was thinking of, like, it would be great if Konami re-released Snatcher, because that was on every platform at the time, and in fact, they have re-released it on the TurboGrafx Mini, but as you said, like, the untranslated version, even in the West. So it would be nice if they, like, gave that game life again.
Yeah, I think probably the big problem with that game is the amount of voiceover that they probably have to either re-record or relicense.
Yeah, to be fair, yeah, the voiceover is tough because there's no subtitles.
Well, not only that, but like you have to find those voice actors and pay them.
Yeah.
Like from the Sega CD era. Like, come on.
They could cheat. They could use like the MSX version or something.
I mean, or what they could do is they could give you they could iron out the issues for maybe the Japanese voice actor and then just subtitle them.
Yeah, but like I said though, those didn't have subs, so they would have to add them.
Yeah, I mean, there's like a number of things that you could do, but I mean, like if you just included the MSX one, there's no ending. Like
that's a good point.
The third act does not happen until the PC Engine. So which is kind of a bummer for the MSX people. Like they would have to buy a whole another system to get the end of the game.
Yeah,
which is kind of funny. But yeah, I mean, I'm not counting on them. Putting out a Hideo Kojima passion project from when he was young, because they obviously hate him, and like a public feud with a company in Japan rarely ever happens. The only other one that I know of is Kenji Ino.
With Sony.
Yeah, that's a very rare.
Each of them fuck the other over.
Yeah, that's a very rare occurrence that you see a public falling out of somebody who's working with another big company. This one was very the one with Kojima was very ugly too.
He posted a picture on Twitter of Konami tears, like on a mug that he was drinking. Like, that's fucking gutsy as hell.
Well, Norman Reedus did it, and he liked it. But
that's what it was. Excuse me. Okay.
Yeah. But that's also very upfront
Yes.
For
and Del Toro was doing hashtag for Konami. Like, damn.
It even spilled out into the Game Awards.
Yes.
Which,
to be fair though, it had to, because that was obviously the elephant in the room. So Jeff Keighley just nipped that in the bud. But he was still, like, they're not letting Kojima be here. I know, and then he moved on.
But still, that was a big deal at the time.
Yes.
So, like, you never see a falling out of that degree, especially in modern times. Like, I can't even think of that. So, anyway,
I mean, off the top of my head, and this is like obvious bias because I've been dealing with these things relatively recently. I know they're coming out with Eiyuden Chronicle, but I would like to see an actual revival of Suikoden, because a big thing about that world is there are lots of runes, but there are 27 true runes. Those are the big ones that everything revolves around. And I just don't know what all of them are, and I'm not going to know. There are only so many games. There are 5 super canon games that have the true runes. So, oh well. I would like to see it come back true to form for like the PS1 style of the games with like the sprite stuff, because movement is just faster and there's something just aesthetically pleasing to me about that look. You could probably do better with 3D now, but I recently finished Suikoden 3 and it's a good game, but the aesthetic of the characters doesn't quite appeal to me. It's like, it just feels like early-ish 3D. It does not look like Metal Gear Solid 2, if that makes sense. And another thing I would bring back would be, like, now that Souls is popular, I would bring back Kingsfield. I would like a Kingsfield 5, because it would play way better now.
Yeah.
And people might be more receptive to it.
Yeah, that would be kind of cool if they did some kind of like weird collection or something like that.
Oh, you know what? Here's a fun fact for you. They did in the early 2000s. There is a Dark Side Anthology box. It comes with Kingsfield 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Oh, wow.
It's the actual PS1 and PS2 releases. It's not like Konami's PS4 collection, but that was a thing in Japan. I actually imported it because I was so excited.
As far as dead or dormant franchises go, I mean, I'm a sucker for Castlevania. Everybody knows that. But honestly, with Bloodstained, I have my fix. Like in terms of Metroidvanias.
Yeah, it's everything you'd want from a Castlevania game. And the funny thing is, even though it's like, oh, he's making it because he has to, he's not, it would be a Castlevania game, but it can't be. But it's also kind of the other way. Iga has publicly like regretted giving the games a timeline, because now he's gonna put things in continuity. Fuck it, Bloodstained exists. I mean, he does actually give a year for it, but fuck it. It doesn't matter if it coincides with Dracula times. We're not doing that.
Yeah, it's kind of oddly limiting. Like they've rebooted and retconned like Castlevania to death.
Yeah, like it's very easy to say, oh, 1300s, but when you make 100 Castlevania games, now you actually have to worry about what year it is, and it's like, I just wanted to make another Castlevania game, man. Come on. So Bloodstained is that game. I don't care. Like, we have a year for it, but like, he's no longer restricted to following the Belmont timeline or whatever.
Yeah, I like, so, and I don't think that like the reason why I loved it is because the people making it loved it too.
Yeah, you could feel the passion in it, especially with, it's like, I always use FromSoft as an example of this, but with each successive game, you could see little evolutions and little callbacks and all sorts of stuff like that. Even Bloodstained, it's like 100 Castlevania callbacks. Even I could pick up a few of them.
Yeah, so getting to my point here is, like, if another one came out, you know, if Konami, like, put out, like, one, I would like it to be kind of on the smaller scale, like, maybe almost like a Castlevania Rebirth game where it kind of feels a little on the indie-ish side, or emulates the old style of Castlevania game before there were Metroidvanias.
Sure.
Because, like, that's still, like, Bloodstained does do that with the Curse of the Moon games, but like, I like that 16-bit style the best, you know, in terms of classic Castlevania games.
No, you know what they gotta do? They gotta release the DS collection.
Oh yeah, that would be amazing.
Where the case is a picture of the DS case, which is a picture of the DS case. Yeah, do you remember that stupid fucking package?
Look up Dawn of Sorrow. Yeah, it was crazy.
No, but you know what I unironically want, and I don't think it's gonna happen, partly because of logistics and partly because nobody but me would want it. I actually would like a dual pack of the N64 games, even though they're kind of the same game in some ways. I would like that back. That would be great.
It's possible that they put those in the N64 Switch.
Yeah, fine.
I don't
that would
think
be cool.
It's gonna happen.
By the way, you know what I never realized when I played the game, because I didn't have a PlayStation growing up? Did you ever get anywhere in Castlevania 64?
I beat Legacy of Darkness.
Okay, I don't know if this guy is in Legacy of Darkness because I haven't played that one. Did you ever find the vampire hunter who has himself been bitten?
It's been a long time.
I don't know if he's in the game. But in OG Castlevania 64, you could find a vampire hunter who has already been bitten, and the game has a day-night cycle. And if you wait too long, like 3 days or something, then you're going to have to fight him at endgame because he's been turned. But I didn't realize it, even though it's very obvious if you do know. But he's just Revolver Ocelot. He just looks like Ocelot.
Wow.
That's just kind of funny to me.
Kind of like Lee Van Cleef from Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, huh?
Yeah, so remember that time Revolver Ocelot was on a Nintendo 64? I was going to say on a Nintendo system, but he was literally in Twin Snakes. But, he was on the N64.
Wow. But to answer the question, I kind of wish that, there would be kind of a return of... not necessarily... I wish there would be another Gunstar Heroes game, but
okay.
It doesn't have to be a Gunstar Heroes game, because Gunstar Heroes really, the characters are not the interesting part. You know what I mean?
It's the gameplay and the level design and the aesthetic.
Exactly.
It's not like Mischief Makers, but I'm comparing it to Mischief Makers in that each level is its own thing. What's the gimmick for this level? You don't know. You don't know what it's going to be. The bosses are wildly different. You don't know what to expect from one level to the next, and that's what makes it fun.
Yeah, the closest thing that I can think of that we have in modern times to Gunstar Heroes is Cuphead. But
okay, yeah, where it's all mostly boss fights, but they're wildly different. And even the run and gun levels they have their own gimmicks.
But the creativity that was involved in Gunstar Heroes, and also the kinetic nature of Gunstar Heroes, is still very unique. So even though it's a run and gun game, they left the option, and high level players will do this, of attacking melee style throughout the course of the game.
Well, that's the ideal way to play. Throwing enemies is by far the most damaging move in the game. It's just that you have to get up there.
Yeah, and also jump kicking and
jump kicking is
kicking.
What you do when you can't throw, and then throwing. Throwing is ludicrously overpowered compared to your guns. It's just that normally you use your guns because enemies are scary.
Yeah, exactly. But that style of play is very aggressive.
Yes.
And whereas normally Contra is very defensive because you get hit once and you die, so you have to be very cautious. Gunstar Heroes in high level play, you're insanely aggressive.
Yeah. It's like Sekiro. Get in there.
Yeah, there's nothing else really like it. As a result, there are other run and gun games out there. Like I said, Cuphead. Cuphead is the only one that's kind of like it because it has bad guys that are so wildly different from each other, just like you were saying. And there's also a parry system.
The parry lets you build up your super meter.
Yeah, so but it has more in common with bullet hell-y kind of stuff.
A couple of Cuphead bosses are bullet hells. That fucking, I don't think you've gotten there yet in the third islands, but the Dr. Wily looking guy, his final phase is just bullet hell, and it's like, oh god damn it.
I love that you fight that dragon that is basically a Mega Man ripoff. I love
that was clever. That was one of my like more frustrating boss fights, by the way. That guy is hard.
Yeah. Well, he's also very hard in Mega Man, so, to be fair. So
okay.
It's like because you only have like the 2 blocks to jump on. Yeah. So, yeah, but so I kind of want that style of game to return, but like I recognize that it's kind of improbable because like the amount of work it takes to make a unique boss is difficult. And
I would still say though I might have faith in the indie scene, because indie stuff is bringing back all sorts of like. Remember, we've talked about this a few weeks ago, but Blazing Chrome, like what if Contra were released today? That would be Blazing Chrome.
Blazing Chrome is really good.
And by the way, but speaking of Kingsfield, by the way, there's even a couple of indie games. I don't know if they're out or if they're in pre-release, but like there's a couple Kingsfield-styled indie games, which like somebody wanted that, and I want that, but somebody went ahead and made it, which is incredible. One of them, by the way, you know what it's called?
What's that?
You're a Knight. Knights Try.
No.
Isn't that great?
But I picked up Infernax recently, and I'm kind of sad that I didn't pick up on this game earlier, because like they did limited run games. But like that's the thing about limited run games, is that like I know some of those games. So like I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get River City Girls, like I know I'm gonna like that, but the Infernax, like I didn't know what Infernax was, and I hadn't heard any buzz on it, so I didn't order that game.
That is one thing I realize is a problem. Play Asia does not have this problem. If you go to a page for a game on their site, below the description there's a YouTube video of usually the trailer.
Yeah.
Limited run games does not have that. So if there's a game where I have no clue what's going on, I'll go to YouTube and I'll type in the game and I'll look for either somebody doing a playthrough or the launch trailer or something and see what it is. Because sometimes with the cover art, I don't even know what kind of game it is. So looking up a real I'll watch like a 3-hour long play and I'll click randomly in the middle of the video. Okay, this is what basic gameplay is like.
Yeah. Well, this game reminds me heavily of Shovel Knight, which is a great inspiration, obviously, but not completely in terms of like design, but maybe like aesthetics and like the way it plays.
Sure.
Of course, like the mechanics are different, but like it just has that feel. Like it has a similar like sound to it, and it has like a similar aesthetic to it. But it's basically. You know how like Shovel Knight is mostly DuckTales meets Dark Souls meets
light Soul stuff in terms of you picking up where you died. DuckTales very obvious with the general gameplay, I'd say, but obviously Mega the pogo.
Yeah, but it's very Mega Man-ish too.
Yes.
On top of it.
Yes, especially with some of the gimmick levels like the airship.
Yeah, exactly. So like it's very very Capcom-y. The Infernax is very much Castlevania 2 meets Dark Souls.
Oh, wow.
So it actually is like the perfect combo, and it has a little bit of Zelda 2 in it, and I've told you in the past that Zelda 2 really should be remade.
You know what's funny is a lot of Link's moves in Smash are from Zelda 2.
Well, a lot of Link's moves are from Ocarina of Time, and Ocarina of Time's moves are from.
I mean, I guess that's true, but like you're jumping in the air and you're downward thrust, thrusting upward. Like there's a lot of like little subtleties where it's like, oh, this came from the 80s.
Well, also the the sages in the Ocarina of Time are named after
the towns.
The towns in 2.
I remember I saw that like years later, like the town of Ruto. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
But by the way, you know what Zelda 2 has that I don't know if I've seen in any other game, including Zelda. I'm surprised Zelda never brought this back. is there's a spell where you could turn into a fairy, which helps you dodge stuff a little better. You can fly through locked doors as a fairy because you go through the keyhole. That's insane. Like, that's crazy. Like, how have they never brought that back?
Yeah, I don't know. But Zelda 2 is like, if it were designed not to hate you so much, it would be a good game. But like, especially towards the end of the game really hates you and wants you to die.
The last boss is some bullshit, and I don't mean Dark Link. I mean the real last boss.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, you know what's really off-putting that I never thought about until I saw it in a Game Grumps video? Do you remember what your extra lives look like in... Because you have lives. Do you remember what your extra lives look like in Zelda 2?
I forget.
Like, you. It's like a little doll of you.
Yeah.
So you pick one up, and it's like, do-do-do-do, but you're holding, like, yourself, and it's, like, weird and off-putting.
It's like holding a baby version of yourself.
Yeah, it's like... I mean, I get it, but, like...
But, so, like, I like that Infernax because, I've been really enjoying that, like, what if Castlevania 2 were not as, like, poorly designed, like, kind of aesthetic. Like, you go into towns and you can talk to the townspeople, and the townspeople give you missions just like they do in Castlevania 2 and Adventure of Link, but they they give you it goes on your checklist of things to do, and it also like lets you look up the conversation again to figure out what to do, and they give you clear instruction on where it is that you need to go to do it.
Yeah, that really was a clever and ambitious game. It's just too bad that like partially it was jank and partially probably some translation made it harder for American audiences.
Well, not only that, but they talked to Igarashi about the second game, and they talked to him and they said, "Did you take some inspiration from 2?" And he's like, "I really hate that game."
Wow.
He like straight up said it.
It's too bad because conceptually it's the best game in the series.
Well, he said, I really hate that game because there are characters in there that will intentionally lie to you, and apparently that was like people thought it was a translation error, but no, like they're supposed to be a way to like some of the townspeople will just straight up lie to you because they're supposed to be in league with Dracula.
Yeah, but I mean, well, it's one thing though if they have a tell, like,
but they don't.
you might want to do the wrong thing, or something like that.
Yeah.
But like,
exactly.
Without that, it's just like the game's lying to you. It's just a dick move. It's just like an unwritten rule. You don't do that.
And either that or it's inconsistent to the point where it doesn't, like, you can never really tell. So, and maybe that was but he's just like, that's a bad design decision because
you know what was a good version of this? You know what was a good version of this? And this is, you're not going to expect this reference. Blakestone. Because the thing in that game is you're attacking the enemies, but like some of your friends have infiltrated as scientists. But how can you tell the difference between the scientists? They all have the same, I don't know if sprite's the right word, but they all have the same model.
Yeah.
But you could talk to them. And if you talk to your friends, they'll be like, hey, here's a minor health item or whatever. And if you talk to an enemy scientist, they'll be like, shut up, get away from me, or whatever. And if you talk to them again, then they open fire on you, but they give you one chance. But you could tell by their attitudes whether you should pay attention to them.
Wow. Well, I think we covered this pretty well, so
sure.
I think we'll wrap things up here. That's the show for this week. Please remember to subscribe to the Corrective Consciousness YouTube and SoundCloud pages. While there, please give us thumbs ups, likes, and 5-star ratings on iTunes. It helps promote and spread awareness of the show, and any bit of encouragement helps keep the show going. You can also catch us on Thursday. That's not Thursday.
On Tuesday.
On Tuesday for Reactive Consciousness, the in-depth look at this week in our lives. Oh, and you can friend me as vysethebold.
What else can we do?
I'm recovering from being sick. I apologize. Finally, you can friend me as vysethebold on pretty much anything.
And you can follow me on my YouTube channel, Lotus Prince. You can hit me up on Twitter at Lotus Prince. And finally, if you're interested in seeing my videos early, like Soul Reaver, getting in on exclusive live streams like Armored Core 2, select upcoming games for me to Let's Play, like Soul Reaver, or getting conversations with me and other patrons on Discord, then perhaps consider swinging by my Patreon account, which can be found at patreon.com/lotusprince.
Okay, we will catch everybody on Tuesday then.
Until next time, everyone.
Bye-bye.